Welcome back, guys. This is Shrikant. Today we are going to talk about the SSAS, and then we are going to talk about how to write the basic MDX query and how to deal with the MDX stuff. Okay, so let's start with the SSAS. SSAS stands for SQL Server Analysis Services. This is one of the component from the product, basically from the Microsoft product, and the product name is MSBI. So Microsoft has their own business intelligence suite, and this is the one of the tool from that. So there are three basically tool MSBI provide. The first is called as the SSIS, then second one is called as the SSRS, and the third one is called as the SSAS. Now, if you want to perform the ETL activity, you can go with SSIS. If you want to perform only the reporting activity, you can just simply go with SSRS. But sometimes, sometimes we have the data model which basically require multiple joins and which takes a lot of time to retrieve the data. So we need the data in such aggregated form which is basically stored. So we need to go for this model called as the SSAS services model. Right. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to create your first SSAS queue. Then I'm going to show you how to create the cube. Then I'm going to show you how to add the dimension. Then I'm going to show you how to deploy it on the server. Then I'm going to show you how to write the basic MDS query and so on. And let's start now. So to open the SSAS project, first of all you should have the Visual Studio installed. So just install the Visual Studio 2022 or any version, that is fine. I'm having Microsoft Visual Studio 2022 installed on my machine. So open it. Once everything is fine, basically when the Visual Studio is installed properly, you will see this kind of IDE. So you can see this is a Visual Studio, right? Here you can see the menus and the Solution Explorer, the output. This is a blank window. We haven't started anything related with the SSAS. So uh, so the next thing is basically you need to go to the file, then you need to go to the new, then you need to click on a project. The moment you click on the project, you will be prompted to this screen, and there it will ask you to select your project. So just type SSAS or analysis services, right? So when you search that one, you will see the multiple result like analysis services multidimensional project, analysis services multidimensional tabular project, right? Import from the server. These are multiple option. But sometimes what happens, sometimes you don't see this one here. So in that case, what you need to do, in that case you need to install it from the Visual Studio installer. And after installing also, sometimes you don't see this, right? So what you need to do, you need to go to the extension and you need to click on the manage extension. Then here on the install component, first you need to search that, you need to verify that it is installed or not. For example, this is a Microsoft analysis service project, and now it is enabled on my machine. Sometimes it is disabled on your machine, so that could be the one reason and it won't show to you. So just simply enable it and just click on OK and just restart, and the system it will start. Okay, now let's come back. Now you just in my machine, the SQL Server Analysis Services project has been installed properly. So I'm just going to the new, going to the project, and I'm going to search for the analysis services. Now I am simply searching for the analysis, right? So this project has been appeared here. So I'm just selecting analysis services multidimensional project. Just double click on that, give the name, proper name. So I'm giving name is as my project, right? So you can select the directory, you can select the location and just simply click on the create. The moment you click on the create, the project will be starting creating. And once everything has been properly done, so you will see this, which is, let's say, creating project, my project. So project creation is successful. So once everything is fine, the project has been created, you will see the window like this, Solution Explorer. In the Solution Explorer you will see the solution name, and then under the solution name you will see the project, right? Then you will see the properties pane. Then there is this another pane is called as output. A lot of different ways. So if you want to see it, just keep it there. Otherwise, if you don't want, you can simply close it, right? And if you again want to add it, there is then you need to go to the views. Here there are multiple options. For example, let's say if you want to see the output, right, we just close, just click on that, it will appear again. If you want to see something like toolbox window, it will appear here, right? So there are multiple options here which you can, for example, the solution explorer is not coming and when you log into the system, so in that case what will you do? So simply just let, for example, I'm just closing everything now, nothing is there, right? I don't know how to bring that, so what will I do? I'll simply go to the view, then click on a solution explorer and see this window has appeared to me and I can add it here. So the this is fine, right? Then if I want to add the properties window, because properties window is very important, like either I can do the F4 or I can go to the view and I can select this property window. Now if you see carefully, this is my solution explorer, and in the solution explorer this is my project name as my project, and this is all the things basically, right? So before doing anything, what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm just pointing to the proper server. So simply just right click here on the project, right click on the project, then properties, then deployment. So here basically we need to specify where what's your SSAS server, right? That thing you should know. So for example, let's keep it as it is. Maybe I can add later. So there are multiple folders here. If you can see in the under the my project, the first folder is called as the data sources, another is called a data sources view, cubes, dimension, rows, assembly. We'll talk about all this folder one by one. So let's start with the data sources. So when I talk about the data sources, what does it represent? It represents only the connection to your OLT system or your data warehouse system. Basically, in short, it will point to the normal relational database engine where your source is coming, right? Because the first requirement, you should have the proper OLTP system or the data warehouse system where you have all the data. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just remove everything and I'm just going to create a data source based on another object. Okay, correct. So I'm going to create, going to create create data source based on analysis. For no, create a existing source in your solution, nothing, right? So like, okay, let's go back again. Let's read once again. See, what is this? Create a data source based on another object. Create a database on existing or a new connection, because I want to create a new connection here. So select second one. Then because I don't have any connection added here, because I'm starting everything from the scratch. So simply click on a new. When you click on a new, one window will appear in front of you, and there basically the you need to add the different things. So here I'm going to select the Microsoft SQL OLTP driver, because my server is a SQL server, right? So I don't know the server name, so who will give me that? So whenever you will be working on a project, or right, so your project manager or someone from your project team will share all those details with you. But right now I'm working on my local machine, so I need the server name, right, for connection to the server. So I'm going to show you how to get that. See, this is a SQL server, this is a SSMS, and I'm going to connect to my database engine, and this is my server name, right? So I do have this server. Let me show you first. So this is my OLTP system where my actual data from the application is coming, and this is my data warehouse system, another data warehouse, because there we created some data warehouse system. So I'll talk about in coming step. So just want to show you, this is my OLTP system. So I just need the server name here. Let's copy the server name and just paste it here. Then the next thing basically come into you need to provide the username and password. So my username is basically test, and the password is 123. It depends on you, or you can simply go with your integrated security model. But I prefer to go with my specific username and password. So this is the one. Allow saving the password. When this username and password is correct and the server name is correct, you need to click on this box. So this is the dropper. So everything is correct. It will pulls all the list of databases, and it will show you. So I want to connect to the data warehouse database. Why I will talk in incoming coming minute. Okay, so this is the data warehouse is my database normal OLTP system, right? Just click on a test connection, everything is fine, just click on OK. Now next step is basically just this impersonation information is very important. Basically, when we do deploy this cube or this SSS project on the server, we need uh, to provide how this deployment will happen, what will be the user ID and password, right? So so it depends. Basically, we need to use the proper use the credential of the current user. So we'll talk, see, until we get the failures we don't understand. Let's say I'm just selecting the inherent which we just have given, the use that only, right? Just click on the next and just finish. Now you can see in the data source session, we it's just a connection to your OLTP system or the data warehouse system from where you want to bring the data, as simple as, right? Now I'm going to show you my data warehouse system which I created. There are basically few tables which I created for this demonstration. Those are simple tables actually. Okay, now let's go into this database. So this is the data warehouse. It's a database. There I have few tables. So for demonstration purpose, I created two table here. Let me show you first the table. So let me first try to tell you, see, when we are talking about the SSAS model or the cube model, there we need to have two important things. The first thing is basically the dimension table. Another thing is basically we should have the fact table. So because when we design the data warehouse, then only it will be very useful for us to design the cube on the top of that. Because when we design the data warehouse system, it uses the proper schema like star schema or snowflake schema or starflex schema, right? So there is a hybrid schema basically. So all the architecture have already been taken care. So let me show you this dim cells, what is there in the dim cell. So let me show you, select top 100 rows. So dim underscore sales is basically a dimension table where I do have the data for the sales. So I can show you, see, this is the unique ID for this particular table, and this is the sales order ID where I do have the sales information. Basically this is the dimension kind of, right? So this is a sales order ID, and with this sales order ID, customer has purchased this product one, the color is red, and the ship location is India. Second order I have, then the in the second order the customer has purchased a product 2, orange, color is orange, and the USA. Likewise, third order I have, their customer has purchased product 3, color is blue, and the ship location is Dubai. So if you can observe carefully, here I have only the subjective information which basically describe the nature of order, sorry. So how the order was and what are the different things basically in the order, what was the color of the product, what was the product customer has purchased with us, what is the location. So these are all the subjective information, but there is no information related with a major, right? So that's why this is my dimension table, just for information, right? Dim cells is my dimension table where I have all the subjective information, correct? So what is dimension table is in means dimension table means a table where we have all the subjective information or adjective information, where we don't have the actual numbers or anything, just a subject or which describe the nature of the nature of the data. Great. Then we have another table called as the fact cell, and let me show you. Let me run this query. I'll select star from. Now if I execute this query, what will I see? I'll see the data for this one. This, let's say this is the sales order ID. For this sales order ID, I have the revenue, I have the quantity, I have the cost of product. So for the second order also, I have the revenue, I have the quantity, I have the cost of product. And for third order also, I have the revenue, I have the quantity, and I have the cost of the product. So see, what's the difference basically between these two tables? So dim cells shows me the subjective information or the text kind of data, right? But fact table, which basically sales detail ID, will show me actual number. So what was the revenue generated from that order? What was the quantity purchase in that order? And what was the cost of product in the order for the specific product? So here basically the key column is basically the sales order ID. You can see here also I have sales order ID, and here also I have sales order ID. So these two table are basically linked to each other, and these are basically by the sales order ID. Okay, now you understood that there are a few things which we need to understand. The first thing is basically dimension, which we just understood, that the dimension table is a table where we have the subjective information. Then we have another table called as a fact table. Fact table will have the data and we called it as a measure. So the data inside the fact table are called as a measures. Simple, right? And the dimension table will have the attributes, and those attributes are called as the members in MDX term, or the or multidimensional terminology. So members, I can say it's a members. So when you will see the members, it means it's a dimensional table thing. When you say the measure, it's a fact table thing, as simple as. So for this demonstration, I have created warehouse as a two table. First table is called as a dim underscore sale, another table is called as a fact underscore sales table, and both these table are joined by the sales order ID. The first table just keeps the information which are basically informative for that respective order, what is the color, what is the shipping location, and what is the product customer has purchased. And the fact cell will represent actual data, that's what was the revenue, how many quantity has been purchased, and what was the cost of a product, right? As simple as, right? Then what we'll do, we'll go to our SSIS, then just go to the data source view, then new data source view. So in this one here, you just need to add how required tables. So for example, you have 100 table, but you don't need those 100 table, right? So simply you just click on the in the steps, and you'll simply select whatever the tables you need. So incoming step, it can be shown. So create a logical relation by matching a column name, right? Same name as a primary, same name as a destination table name, destination table, and okay, just select the same name, should be right. For okay, so first add this table, because I have not intentionally created relationship between them, because I want to show you those problem here. So this is one, and if I click on the add related tables, because it doesn't have any prime foreign key relationship with this two table, because I haven't created, so it is not coming here. If there is a relationship between them, it should have been here, right? So this is just a dimension table. I also need the fact table, so I'm just moving this one and just click on next. See, this two table has been added. So what will happen in the next step when you click on the finish? See, this is a data source view. If I double click on this, I can see the structure here, right? So I can see these two tables are there, but there's no relationship. So let's create the relationship. If you want, you can simply click on that one. This is a fact, because I want to create the relationship between the dim cells. So in the dim cells, I have the column called as the sales order ID, and in the fact table, I also have the same column name, right? So just simply click on OK. You'll see that the relationship, see, no primary key has defined, because yeah, that's fine. So this is a relationship between the dim cells to the fact cell, correct? Now this is simple. So in the data source, we will simply add the tables which are basically required for the demonstration. You can also remove this table. So simply just delete from the DSV. Just delete it. Right, we just deleted. Now if you want to add it, simply right click here, add or remove table. Again, once again, see this table we just remove, right? So simply add it here once again and just click on OK. As we have already created relationship, so system knows that one, and from the cache it has already mapped this one, dim says to the fax says one, right? Correct. Yeah, fine. So these two things are correct, right? And then it is very easy. So data source is just to link to the server, then data source view is just to add all those tables which are basically required for your understanding, right? Now in this one, I'm going to add the dimension. So what is dimension? Dimension is a table basically where we have all the subjective information. So do you want to use an existing table? Yes, yeah, I want to use the existing table from the data source one. So which table do you want to keep? I want to create the dimension for the dim cells, right? So here you need to add the key column. So my key column is basically ID, or I can say it's a sales order ID actually, right? So here you need to select that one, key column. Then if what is the name column you want to add? So I want to use the same one, right? So simply click on the next. So if you go back now, right, if you go back, you will see this information, right? Fact says it. So yeah, so click on just add that. If you don't want, see here basically So we are going to add a dimension, and the dimension is on a dim underscore sales, right? So just simply click on a next, because we don't want to use another table, so we have uncheck it, right? We don't want this table. So next step, we need to select the columns, attribute column. So I want basically uh, this column, color, and the product name, ship location, only this one. Okay, next, right? We have created this dimension and just finish. See, this is my dimension I just created, and I can see these are the column which I have added, and these are the column which I am showing as an attribute. If you want to remove any column, you simply come here and you can simply remove by just doing a delete. And for example, I remove this from here, right? Again, I want to add, just simply select this one and drag and drop here like this. So this is my dimension. Simple, right? It's very simple. Now next step is basically I created the dimension. Now I want to create the cube. So let's create the cube. If you want to select the use the existing table, yeah, I want to use the existing table. Now then it will ask you the major group, in which table you have the major. I have the major in the facts underscore sales detail. So I click on a next. So here you need to select what are the your columns. So these are all my basically column which are basically for the majors. So majors are the things which represent the numbers, or the which are useful for measuring things. So these are revenue, quantity, okay, and then simply click on the next. Next is basically the dimension. So you can select this table only, then no problem. Dimension, yeah, okay. Next, associated dimension will be created automatically. Now this is my cube, right? Now if I come here, I can see this is the fact revenue, and I can see this measures, right? And then in the dimension I can only see this one, fact sales detail, right? And here I have only the sales order ID. This is automatically created, but I have already one more dimension called as a dim sales, which is not here. So what you need to do, then you need to click on the dimension usage, right? Then add cube dimension here. This dim cells is cube dimension, and this is a major group. So how do this how these things are related to each other? They are related to each other by sales or identity. So create a relationship between them. So I am going to create a relationship between these two. So the column is basically sales order ID, right? This is a sales group ID. Okay, see, this is a dimension usage. So in the dimension usage, you need to properly map this one. So this is my for one dimension, and this is another. This is one dimension, and this is a major group. Now this is another dimension, and this is a major group, right? So I can map this one by simply sales order ID. This is by sales order ID. If you want to remove, you can remove it. Depends on you. So for example, if you want to remove, you can just remove, right? Okay, so far everything is fine. Now the next step is basically everything is okay. Now the next step is basically we need to click on browser. So then the moment we'll click on the browser, we'll see this error, right? Why? Because we haven't deployed it on the server. So what actually we need to do, we need to deploy it on the server. So for that, we need first the server. What is our SSAS server is? So this is my SSAS server, SSAS server. In your company, or whenever you work on the project, someone will share with you, your project manager or anyone. But right now this is my local machine. So see, then you need to go to the deployment, as I started in the video, as I stated in the starting of video, right? So this is my server name, just change it. And what is your database? I'm going to change it the my first cube demo. This is my database name, which basically will show in this server. Now if I'll go to this server, and let's see what will I see. See, if I expand the databases, I can only see one database called as the demo, right? But this is not the database. So our database is not there on this machine, right? So simply click on apply, then click on OK. The next thing is basically we are going to process this from the queue. So if you observe carefully, we are in the queue. See, just double click on the queue. This is the name of our queue. then we are in a cube, right? And we have seen the dimension structure. We have created all the facts and the measures. Then there is a browser. Now we are going to deploy it on the server, everything first. So simply click on as. One window will appear, and in this window we will see that okay, deployment completed successfully. Then it will ask to refresh the database. We will basically process the database and see everything has been processed successfully and close. Okay, fine. Now once again we'll go back to our SSAS server. This is our SSAS server, and we simply refresh the queue. Now the moment we'll refresh the cube, see, we are going to see the new database we just deployed on the server, right? And if I try to expand, I can see everything here. So if I double click on the data sources, I can see where it is pointing, right? This is pointing to the old system which basically we created. Another is basically data source view. We'll see what was the data, say what was the last time it was updated. And if you go to the cubes, you will see the name of the cube is data warehouse, right? Because we just have that one. Then the major groups, what are the different major groups we have, right? Then the dimension, we have two dimensions, so dim cells and the dim, right? This is a structure basically which is deployed on the server. Now let's go back to the cube and just close it first. Now if I come back and if I do a click here and browse again, so what will happen, see the window. Now this window has been appeared in front of you, right? Now I want to see the data first. So these are my major, these are the dimensions. So what will I do? I want to see the data by revenue. So I want to see revenue data here. So just click on execute query. I can see in the 900, right? But I don't know this what is 900. So I want to go by the sales order ID. So what will I do? I'll simply go to the dim sales, and this is basically sales order ID. So drag it and then again click on execute. So I can see these are the all sales order ID. I want to also see the colors, right? So simply I'll drag and drop here and simply see the color. Right, we are in a design mode now. See, we are in actually design mode, but the data has been shown to, but this has in background has written some kind of MDX code. Let me show you the MDX one logic here. So this is a MDX script basically which you don't know right now, but in 5 minutes you will be knowing what all this and how to write this thing. Now just let's look at the data. This is the data basically which we have now. I think this is clear, right? What is SSAS, what are, how to map to the data sources, then how to create a data source view, then how to create the dimension, then how to create the cube, how to deploy it on the server. Now next thing is basically I'm going to show you the MDX part. Now as we are on this one, basically this is our database, right? Just click on a new query. So the moment you will click on a new query, you will be prompted to the window. Otherwise you can do one thing, simply just right click on that, new click on a new query, and then just MDX. So I'm going to show you how to write the MDX query. MDX query is easiest query, but people don't know how to write that one. That's why they feel very difficult. So if you are good in SQL, so it's like SQL only. So let's just do some kind of some research first. See, this is the section called as a cube. Here you will see the multiple cube. For example, if we created a number of cubes here, 4 cubes. So here you will see the drop down. You can change that which cube basically want, right? This is the one. Then under this cube you will see what are the different measures group are there and everything. So this name will match with this one. Then KPI dimension, everything will be changed. I will show you one by one. Now for example, I'm going to write a select query. So how I will write? I will write like this: select star from the table name. So here, for example, dimension is my table name. Just paste it and just click on execute. See, you will get some errors, but don't worry. See, that is SQL and this is a MDX, right? So definitely there should be some changes. I'm going to show you how to write a simple MDX query. So first of all, select is common everywhere. Then there is a keyword called as a from, and in the from you actually need to pass a table, right? In SQL, but here in MDS we don't need to pass the table. We need to pass what? We need to pass the cube. Remember, we need to pass the cube. Now let's execute it. By running this one you will see some 900 number, but you don't know what is this 900, right? So this is called as a default measure. If you go back to the cube, right, so come here and just property here, window. Go back to the cube, right? This is data warehouse source view. Yeah, this is our cube. Just double click on that. Right. So here you will see the default measure. So if you have specified anything, it will take randomly. Okay. Now I'm going to change it to quantity purchase, right? And that is fine. Let's just close it. Just right click and save it. Save selected item. Then deploy it once again. Database will be overwritten. That is fine. This every time whatever changes you do, you need to just deploy it on the server. So the deployment process is going on. In one pop-up will come and it will ask us to refresh. Okay, it only deployed it. Now we'll do one thing, just process, we'll process this one. Right. Deploy just schema deployment, process mean refreshing the data and everything. Okay, it is processed, then close it. Now go back here. Now what will we do is again execute it. See, previously 900 was coming, now it's coming as 400. Okay, 45. So default major thing is there. So if you want to see specifically, so how you can do, simply see, this is a section called as a major. So for example, I want to see uh, cost of product. So simply I'll paste it here and I'll execute it. Now what will I get? I will get the cost of product. Okay, I don't want the cost of product. So what will I do? I will add it here, revenue. See, there is a difference in the SQL and the MDX, but maybe it will take some time, but it will be easy. 900, right? Now, this is basically slicing. So, whenever we talk about the MDX, we need to think about the multi-dimensional one, right? So, for this one, let's say we need to use some access. So, always access always start from 0. Here we need to pass some statement. Either we can give the or members or measure. You need to write it here. Then the next thing is basically here also member or measure on access, another access, right? This is a syntax. So just replace the thing. What actually my requirement, I want to see the cost of product here. Just drag and drop on columns here, right? And basically you can say on columns what you need to see, simple, right? And in the rows what you want to see, I want to see basically all the dimension data. No, in the dimension what you want to see, I want to see the colors. Okay, now let's select this one. It's simple, right? Instead of one you can simply write the rows. Now this is very simple query. What, just try to understand because it is going to be complicated. So focus, see, simply things we have, I just added on keyword, then row, columns and row, and I specified which thing basically should be there on the column and which thing should be on the rows, right? Now just execute it. See, the cost of product which I basically represented, so it's showing like here, and this is 60. Instead of cost of product I want to see the revenue, right? So how can I do that? Yeah, I can simply just drag and drop like this. See, the revenue has been changed. Now now this color is basically showing all this, but if I go inside this color, so I can see a lot of different values, blue, orange, red. So let's try to understand first. Now this is a color. So color is basically dim cells, right? In the dim cells the color is basically the attribute. So the basic, right, and these are the members. What actually we need to do, this is called as the members, right? So just drag and drop this member here. So basically what will happen, slicing happens. Slicing means only the data which is having a color is equal to blue will be shown to us. So if you see here, this is the blue, correct? This is simple. Now I want to show the two colors on the here. So let me give some comma like equal, and let's select the orange. Now let's see what will happen. This is the query allow. See what will happen, see, this is ambiguity query. So basically this is showing it's not working. So we need to understand the concept called as a set. When we have a single dimension, and we want to use the multiple value from the same dimension, then we need to go for a set. So if we are using a set, then you need to use this curly braces. Simple, right? Just run it. Now you'll see the orange, blue orange thing, right? Then if you want to add the red also, you can simply add by specifying comma. Just click on the next, execute. You'll see all this thing, right? Correct. But someone may think that no, I don't want to use it every time. So what will I do? Simply just go to this color, right? This is basically dimension, this is attribute, and then this is a label. Just click on that. See, you will see all the values. Okay, if you want to add specific, so simply like you say and percent, and let's say blue, and run it, right? Okay, now the next thing basically come into your mind, that okay, this is basically blue. I have color, okay, from the color basic, but I want to show, I want basically product name also. So what will you do? You simply go to the hierarchy, and this is the product. Now let's see what will we get. Just run it. Now see, cannot resolve the ambiguity because it's showing multiple column, right? Just add the braces, and now see what will happen. Now must be from the same hierarchy. So basically the hierarchy is different, right? So for that, actually, this is from the dim sets, but this is from the color attribute, right? It wouldn't work. So for that we have another thing called as a tuple. This is a set, right? If you want to add the same values from the same hierarchy, then we need to use a set curly braces. But if we want to use the different column from the different dimension, though, then we have to use these brackets. This is called as a tuple. Then simply just because we have added one column from the color and one column from the product hierarchy, simply select it and run it. So we don't have anything for this combination. Okay, we can simply say okay, just do one thing, and now let's run the query and see what will happen. Okay, this for this product one I got this one, but let's make it more generic. See, all combination, all. So what actually we need to do, we need to go to the label. Actually this is a color, or product name. I'll show you how to make it more simple, don't worry. Right, so simple, run. See, all the combination has been appeared to us. So for example, if you want to say the same column from the same one, now one more thing I'm going to show you here. Let's take the ship location. Yeah, for example, yeah, ship location label. Now we'll see what will happen. Oh, great, right? So all this combination basically. So you can write the MDX query. Basically, I have the color, I have the product, I have the location. What I don't have the sales order ID. Okay, just add it there, right? So we are going to add the sales order ID here, the first column. So simple thing is basically when you want to add the columns from the same hierarchy, go with a set. If you don't want to, if you want to add the hierarchy from the multiple attribute or the dimension, then you need to go with a tuple. It's simple, right? So this is MDX query. See how simple it is. And now just my requirement is just I want to see the data only for a one sales order ID. So what will I do? I simply put dot here and simply dot and ampersand sign. It will slice data and just one. Okay, and just click on next. See, only for this one it has been coming. This is called as a slicing dicing, and I think I was able to uh, help you for you understanding the sales, understanding the sets and the tuples, right? And how to write the basic MDX query, right? This is very important for the BI developer. In coming video we'll cover a lot of different things, but if you really like this video, please don't share, and please don't forget to comment on the video, so it will help us to know that okay, you people are understanding. See how simple is MDX query. People don't tell proper way. That's why it feels like it's very difficult, but it's really not that much difficult. Okay, and thanks for watching this video. Have a great day ahead.